It's a cozy apocalypse. I mean, there's no kill or be killed district games. There's no roving bands of hungry cannibals or apex predators with a taste for human flesh. In this case, the infected are typified by a salesperson, a juicy couture, folding velour tracksuits in candy-colored rainbow precision, or a housewife setting the table over and over and over again. And, much like everything else in the world, even the apocalypse, it seems, is made in China. It's Severance by Ling Ma, and Shen fever has spread across the globe. Originating in Shenzhen, China, these fungal spores have spread quickly, and the infected just get locked into comforting and familiar patterns, like flipping through a familiar book, scrolling through feeds, or trying on outfits over and over and over again. And they're oblivious to anything and anyone else, infected or otherwise. They're not hungry for brains. They're not looking to bite you. Hell, they're not even infectious. They just are locked in their own little world, doing their own thing. What's disconcerting is that for most of the novel, Candace herself is not that much different from the infected. She keeps going into the office as her coworkers slowly begin to disappear. Many head home to take care of loved ones that become infected, and of course many have succumbed to the infection themselves. Meanwhile, Candace keeps going into an increasingly vacant office. She punches a clock, puts in her hours. Sounds sort of familiar? Putting your hours in at the job, coming home, consuming content emanating from digital screens, going to sleep, lather, rinse, repeat. We're kind of soaking in it. We didn't even need an apocalypse. But don't worry, it's not some heavy-handed parable. We're supposed to look up from our screens and reconnect with the vast wonder of the world around us, take in all that nature, rekindle friendships, and value human connection as we travel the vast countryside, performing Shakespeare and Chopin to remote villages. Even the end of the world can't seem to do away with cliques, jockeying for position, and douchey neckbeards. Candace eventually throws in with a band of survivors leaving New York, and they're led by a short, stout IT admin who's played every iteration of World of Warcraft, has emo goth leanings, has an arm in a sling from carpal tunnel syndrome, and smokes vanilla-scented e-cigarettes while earnestly asking Candace if, she could be a little bit more participatory, make sure she really fits in before throwing in with their band of survivors. I mean, it's the apocalypse. There's 12 survivors left, and you have to worry about fitting in? Just throw me in the frickin' Hudson. But just like The Walking Dead isn't just a story about zombies and more a story about how people are just shitty to each other, zombie stories tend to reflect the culture we're currently living in. And it's this idea of zombies and vampires and how they reflect America and the current presidency. So let me explain a little bit. During Democratic presidencies, we see a lot more vampire stories. Vampires represent what the right think of the left. They're immoral, sexually ambiguous foreigners that reject Christianity, or at the very least fancy pants elitists intent on corrupting the young and innocent. Meanwhile, during Republican presidencies, zombie stories tend to come to the fore. Zombies representing what the left think of the right. Mindless consumers, an unthinking horde that can't think for themselves, and are usually created by large corporate entities. And they're intent on killing, or at the very least assimilating, the minority. Anyway, I'll have a link to an article that explains all of this better than I do. In Severance, the zombies are less consuming monsters and more numbed masses, locked into familiar routines. And there's introduced this psychological aspect to the disease that nostalgia, in fact, may trigger the fever. Feelings of home and belonging are dangerous in this new world. And here for me is where it becomes an immigrant story, where it explores the idea of Asian American identity. Candace immigrated to the US from China when she was 6. Her parents have both since died. So she doesn't have a home in China, but she doesn't really feel like she belongs in New York. She's an observer, and it's telling that she runs a photoblog called New York Ghost. And even as the world is ending, she gets out at her lunch hour and takes pictures of the slowly vacating city. So Candace's inability to truly connect, her sense of not belonging, makes her uniquely immune in this new world. She's never really felt like she's belonged. Not in New York, not in the company that she works for, wanting to be one of the girls in art books, not even at the end of the world. She's always on the outside, observing, always othered. Certainly in light of the current situation that favors the zombie narrative, it's not too hard for many people to relate to that feeling of being othered. Now, speaking of Asians in the zombie apocalypse, if you haven't had a chance, check out on Netflix the show Kingdom. It is a Korean show, but it is set during the medieval Joseon period of South Korea. Crazy hats, beautiful costumes, and it is just gorgeously shot. This is almost like a travelogue for South Korea. Anyway, It's a zombie story, but it's more about the political machinations of people in power and how they hold on to that power with little regard to the people that they serve. Seems sort of timely. Anyway, first season's out, 6 episodes, really, really great. Anyway, that's it for this week. Anyway, I hope I get back on a regular cadence with these things. I know I've been a little negligent as of late, but in any case, I hope you all have a great week of reading, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.